And then, so the first question's what is the artist trying to do? I think the director was like, he did a pretty good job at like creating like a fast-paced environment of like almost like dreams that you could say, or like fairyland, in the chaos of love. And when in that one scene where I forget her name, she was like holding on to um, one of the actor's legs.
Hmm.
There was like a lot of like neon lighting, um, which amplify the energy and like of the dream world, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of said something along the lines of that. I had that I think the directors are trying to make the play like more fun and relatable by like putting a modern twist in it. But I think since they included so much old English, it was hard to follow at sometimes. But with the updated costumes and music, like with the one scene with the guy wearing the donkey mask and then singing "Have you ever seen the rain?" I think that like made it like I think that was the twist that like actually made it understandable. But before that, I thought it was kind of hard to follow with all the old English and everything.
I
Yeah.
agree with that. And I was sorry, I was just
That's
gonna say,
okay.
yeah, I agree with that. And like, I thought it was like, I was so confused, like
Yeah.
with the updated part at first. And then I was like, oh, well, it makes a lot more sense now
Hmm.
after watching the whole play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of focused on like those same kind of things. Like I talked about like their inclusion of songs like Hey Jude, which is like is was made in 1968 and they did a lot of like 1960s, 70s, 50s like fashion aesthetic like that they added like and like changed from the original. And I thought that made the story like more modern and it like kind of made it a bigger contrast between like the orderly like normal world and then like the like fairies and everything like the chaotic like magic like realm of the forest. So I thought that was kind of like it made it more like a like an easier contrast to like figure out like oh this is part of this part of the story, this is part of this part. And so I think that was definitely helpful, especially with like the old English language. Like it helped to have some aspects that made it a little bit more specific about what was going on or what was what scene.
Yeah, there was also like crazy, there's like a crazy amount of like physical humor in the film,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
I thought was like maybe a little weird, but
Yeah, I
it was
remember.
there was a lot of laughs.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember the one. It was one of the first like physical humor parts was when the one I forget her exact name, but one of the characters on stage was like crawling around the stage and
Hmm.
everyone was laughing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, should we move to question two?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that.
All right, I can start. So question two, did they achieve their intentions? I kind of thought they did, kind of, but not fully. Just because of the like old English again, I thought the modern parts made it easy to follow and definitely funnier at times, but the old English made it hard to fully understand again because it just I feel like the whole play they just spoke in such an old way that I didn't understand half of it until like more of the physical things that I could see to understand rather than listen. And but I do get how it was made by Shakespeare and they were probably going for an older play, not like a modern twist on it fully. So I understand in that way that they might have achieved their intentions because it was a Shakespeare play and it's an older play, and I don't think their full intention was to make it modern. So I do, and kind of, so like partly, I think they achieved their intentions in my mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess I can just say what I said already because we weren't recording. I just thought like the transition was cool between like the different places like Athens and the forest. I thought like that like they accomplished like movement well, I guess you could say, like climbing on all the different platforms and like the stage. And like at one point, one of the characters like even slid down the pole. It kept things like moving and lively, so it wasn't boring, I guess you could say. Um, yeah, so I think like the choreography was like pretty good. The lighting changes I thought were cool too, like the soft colors in the forest, like purple, blue, and green, or I think were some of the colors that they had in that scene.
Yeah. I think they did a lot with like how little they actually changed the scenery. I think. I think that was like a big thing that they did that I thought was like creative or like a good, like really resourceful, I guess. And then back to like what I kind of was saying, like for the first question, I talked again about just like how they like transported audiences to like a playful, like dreamlike world with like again, like the lighting and different like sound effects. And then I thought that they like reinforced the theming with costuming again, where like in the beginning, the two female characters were wearing like very like reinforced dresses of like the 50s, and then throughout they like tossed out that and had like a floral fun like loose dress at the end, which was kind of showing like um Hermia like gaining control because she like got to like marry the person that she actually loved instead of Demetrius. So I thought that was like an important like aspect of like how they like really showed like the themage and like I don't know how they achieved that.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, we can move to the third question. Was the attempt worthwhile? I think it was. I think again because the language was tricky, the modern spin made it more enjoyable with like some of the songs that they added. Like, Hey Jude's an older song, but again with Have You Ever Seen the Rain, that's more of a newer one. And then I think it was a good way to bring creativity and the energy into an older play typically. And I think if they had put more modern language, it might have been a better attempt in my mind. Just again because I couldn't really understand it, which made me confused and not really understand at some points what was going on. But even with all that going on, I still think the play like casted all the right actors and they fit their roles and the costumes were well done and just the whole plot was worked well together and everything like that. So I think it was a worthwhile attempt.
Yeah, I agree. It was actually the first play I've ever been to, so I didn't really know well, I've seen plays like clips on line or TV, but never like in person. So I thought it was pretty cool. Like you go to the movie theater and it's all on a screen, but like actual people like acting there. And then they like the like the English part that you said, it was hard, but like, you could understand. I could understand like a little bit of like what was going on. And then I thought um like the comedic approach made it better. Miami's version was pretty cool because of the like I don't want to say like when you hear Shakespeare you could think like not a lot of people like not it's I don't know, I don't want to sound like off, but maybe um I don't know the word here, like
Like older
intimidated,
and like kind
like
of
yeah,
hard.
like an
Yeah.
older generation and
Hmm.
intimidated, like
Mhm.
stuff like that. But I thought like the comedic approach made it cool for like our generation to watch, and like the integration of the songs that we know, the older, even though the songs are older. But I thought, yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, I think they did a really good like attempt and they did a really good job at it. I also had never like been to like a play, definitely like a Shakespeare one too. Like I was definitely not looking most forward to it just because I didn't know how much I would under like stand the play. But I think how creative they were with it made it a lot more engaging. And with the like addition of the songs, I think they were trying to like, the song's message or the song. And so connecting it to a certain scene like made it more understandable about what was going on or like how the characters were feeling. And I think that like so it like was still resonating with like the original Shakespeare theme, but it was resonating more with a modern audience. So I thought the blending of that was like really well done for keeping most of like the wording the same, I
Mhm.
think.
Was it? I also had like a question. Was it student actors?
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, one of the guys in the show I went to high school with.
Oh, okay. So
So
that
yeah.
makes it even cooler, I think.
Hmm.
Hmm. For sure. All right.